Hello and welcome to the
welcome
Ultimate Sports Show. I'm Chris Porter alongside my tag team partner, Evan. Evan, we've got a fantastic show today.
Yeah, we really do. We got a lot lined up for you. Mike McDaniel and the vibes there in Miami Dolphins training camp, not so great. Also, we have a moment you do not want to miss for our heart of the game. But first, let's talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and their training camp escapades, because the Buccaneers went up against someone other than themselves. The Tennessee Titans are in town for the first preseason game of the year, and the juice was evident. We even had benches clearing brawl at one point. I thought the Bucs defense looked great again. Hassan Reddick intercepted Miami great Cam Ward. I also thought the offense didn't look as sharp, and that has been a theme for most of camp, just consistently up and down. Even though Mike Evans and Emeka Egbuka look fantastic, I asked Baker Mayfield, when they're in these joint practice sessions, are they working on fundamental plays, or are they trying to just tinker and see what works out there?
A little of both. Like, you're not necessarily game planning for a joint practice. I mean, you really watch their tape the day before and kind of generally try and say, okay, what would we call without diving into it? But then also, what are we still trying to work on? And so there's a mix and match of both of what are we still trying to execute at a really, really high level, and then what can we really try against this defense? And so, yeah, some good, some bad.
Baker Mayfield said after that skirmish, look, we weren't the ones that started the fight, but we are going to be the ones that end some fights. So I really like that energy and attitude, certainly going up against another team for the first time this season.
That sounds like you and I when somebody's trying to step into our space. Hold on, wait a minute. We ain't going to start that, but we'll finish it up.
Hold me back.
Yes. So good here for Baker Mayfield there. Evan, what about that other signal caller that has made his way to Tampa, Teddy Bridgewater signing with the Bucs?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with Michael Pratt hurt and Baker getting banged up last week, it was important to get another arm into camp. And look, Michael Pratt is already a developmental project. Kyle Trask has been around the block, but has barely played any regular season snaps. So grabbing a QB who has been in the arena before and can help Baker was really important. Not to mention, this is a guy who has been coaching recently and has tremendous knowledge of the game. If you don't know Teddy's story, Teddy helped lead Miami Northwestern to a 3A state championship last year. He was then suspended by the school for providing impermissible benefits, such as paying for Uber rides, meals, and recovery services for his players. He self-reported all of these payments, by the way. Now that he is back in the NFL, he opened up about the suspension and says he doesn't regret a thing.
Those players became my sons, and I wanted to make sure that I just protect them in the best way that I can, and I think that's what came about. Miami Northwestern is in a tough neighborhood, and sometimes things can happen when kids are walking home and different things like that. So I just tried to protect them, give them, a ride home instead of them having to take those dangerous walks. But I just want people to continue to see me for the person that I've been, from the time I arrived in the NFL, from the time that I arrived at the University of Louisville. Just a humble guy who has a big heart and a cheerful giver.
Evan, you and I were talking about this before the show, and I was telling you I have a mad issue with the FHSAA's decision to suspend him for what they call permissible benefits. When did it become wrong for coaches who, most of the time have to play the role of dad, teacher, comforter, sometimes provider, to want to help his players get better? He used his own personal money. He said himself that on his team, the Northwestern team that won the state championship, you have a lot of guys who come from rough neighborhoods and they don't have the resources. I stand behind him 100% in what he did, and I will go run through a wall for any coach who is willing to do what's best for his players.
Man, I am so with you. I loved everything you just said. Teddy ain't giving these kids a Rolls Royce to play for him, right? He's just taking care of the kids. Yeah. Luckily for him, he has the means to shell out some money and protect his guys. Other inner city schools around the country do not have that. But if someone wants to step up and do something like that, that should be celebrated, not frowned upon.
And I'll tell you this, the folks in these parts, they're going to be all fired up because the Reigns Vikings here in Jacksonville, they lost to Teddy Bridgewater and his team in that state championship game last year. A rematch season opener on August 22nd over the north side of Jacksonville in the place they call the Graveyard. We'll be there for our game of the week. It is going to be G-O-O-D good. Let's talk about the pro team in our city. The Jacksonville Jaguars have a wide receiver in Brian Thomas Jr. who proved last year as a rookie. He'll be a force to be reckoned with in the NFL for years to come. BTJ broke several franchise records and was named to the Pro Bowl. Listen, it took the Jaguars a while, but during the second half of the season last year, they finally did whatever was necessary to get the ball into his hands, and it paid off. But if you're not a diehard Jags fan, you might have forgotten about him because all of the focus this offseason has been on Travis Hunter. I call you the silent assassin. You're not a man of many words, but when you get on the field, your work speaks for you. Do you like the fact that you've kind of gone under the radar a little bit this offseason with so many people focusing on Travis Hunter?
I mean, it don't really bother me. Like you said, I don't really get into all that, the media, social media, and all that stuff. I don't really worry about that. I just go out there and play football. This is what I love to do, play football. And I just go out there and give it my all. I don't really care about the other stuff.
Travis Hunter said from day one in this press conference that he's going to be stuck to you like glue, learning everything he can from you. What are you guys' relationship like, and how hard is it to learn 2 playbooks as a rookie?
It's super hard just to learn 1 playbook, so I can only imagine just learning 2. He's been doing well with it. He's very dedicated and very inspired to go out here and be the best player that he can be the best on both sides. So I mean, that's what he wanted to do, and he put his mind to it, and that's what he's gonna go out there and do.
Has he been stuck to you like glue?
Yeah, he's always around, always right. Every time I look over my shoulder, he's right there. Yeah, I mean, he's been steady learning, steady asking questions, just trying to see why little things, how certain DBs do certain such, just like little things, just trying to find tips, find ways to get better. Your coach was on the Rich Eisen show this week saying that he believes that Travis can win Offensive Rookie of the Year and Defensive Rookie of the Year. You believe he can do it as well? Yeah, I feel like he can do anything he put his mind to. So yeah, I definitely feel like that's something that he can accomplish.
Evan, can I take a second here to pat myself on the back, because it wasn't that long ago that I said on this show that I believe that Travis Hunter can win Offensive and Defensive Rookie of the Year. I know you watched, I know you heard me. I also know it would be unprecedented because, to make some history, somebody's got to do it. And he plays both sides of the ball and can pull it off. Here's his coach talking about how he agrees with it.
He is committed, man. Like, he is committed to driving not just himself, but his teammates as well. And I think that his teammates, you spoke of Josh Hines-Allen,
yes, sir.
You speak of Trayvon Walker, you speak of Foye, Tyson Campbell, Jordan Lewis from Dallas. Like, these guys are challenging him. It's truly, guys, iron sharpening iron. That's what it feels like. And I wouldn't expect anything less from those guys. And so they've all been on board in terms of, hey, man, they think he can do it as well, but they're going to make him earn it as well in this building.
Evan, it is so interesting to me that despite what he was able to do in Colorado, because first they said he couldn't do that at Colorado, he did it for 2 years. He played both sides of the ball. I understand that that's college and they don't play as many games, but at what point are you going to believe in him? And also, you can't make history until you actually do it. Somebody has to be the first. Why can't it be him?
That's the whole point right there. And, Devontae Adams was saying he doesn't believe in him. The fact is, until someone does it, no one's going to believe it's possible. And then you see it and you start believing. What Travis Hunter does in his rookie season, I'm not quite sure. But I do believe over time you're going to see him play both sides of the ball. And there's a game plan for him, and
Evan,
he'll get it done.
Evan,
As for the Miami Dolphins, yeah?
Hold on, Evan. By the way, Travis Hunter says all of the naysayers, he characterized them with one word. Haters.
Haters. I like that. Yeah. Just don't worry about the haters. Just focus on what you got to do. As for the Miami Dolphins, speaking of haters, a couple of us, I would say, would be classified as that, considering what we think they're going to be next season. Let's get a vibe check from head coach Mike McDaniel.
You should stand corrected. Good morning. False. Great morning. Let's go.
Why great? What makes this one great?
Because we're another day closer to death.
Okie dokie, the vibe's still very questionable in South Florida. I will say signing a guy like Zach Sealer is great for this franchise. A former 7th-round pick out of Ferris State has blossomed into a premier defensive lineman, logging double-digit sacks back-to-back seasons. Considering the mess in that secondary, Chris, Miami better get their money's worth out of Sealer because they need to generate tons of pressure on the quarterback this year.
For everything you just said, I'm assuming that is why he's saying the next day could be your death, because it's going to be difficult for him to win a lot of games down in South FLA with all of the things you just mentioned there. Jacksonville native, Mandarin alum, former Georgia Bulldog, and Miami quarterback Carson Beck using that big arm in practice during the Hurricanes fall practice this week. It's the first time we've seen Beck throw the football since he was injured in the Bulldogs' SEC championship win over Texas last season. When Carson Beck is healthy, he can throw the ball with anybody. And I think it's so important to remind you that before the start of the college football season last year, there were some who predicted he could have been the top overall pick in this year's draft. Beck's numbers were not sexy this last season, but Georgia's receivers, they had trouble catching the ball. And Beck, the Hurricanes are getting a seasoned QB who knows how to win big games and should do nothing but great things down in South FLA. More on that in a second. But here's Beck talking about throwing full throttle again.
It's the first time I played like live football, helmets in 8 months, so I mean it was really exciting to get back out on the field. My arm felt absolutely juiced, like probably the first 20 throws that thing was humming out. And then halfway through practice, I think I finally, settled in. And I thought the ending of the practice for the offense was really, really good once we started to get to the team periods and stuff and kind of start calling it and moving the ball down the field.
Miami fans, here's some good news. Beck has told us that the Canes scheme fits him. They got the players around him, and we know how good Beck is when his receivers catch the ball consistently. However, Evan, if the Canes are going to make a run at the college football playoff, Mario Cristobal is going to have to get that other side of the ball fixed, the defense.
Cristobal has to also figure out how to coach in big games and understand when to kneel appropriately, all right? Recruiting ain't the issue for Mario. Him and James Franklin are very similar in that regard. All right, let's hit the pause button. But in our Heart of the Game segment, we show you one Florida Panthers player who had an emotional day with the Stanley Cup.
But first, the NCAA decided not to expand the men's and women's basketball tournaments beyond 68 teams, at least for now. Why is it just a matter of time? Why is it just a matter of time? Why? I'll tell you in the Ultimate Stakes. Time now for the Ultimate Rush. This is where we dig into some more topics affecting the Sunshine State and beyond, Evan.
The only catch is we have 60 seconds to make our point, and I'm going to start us off with the University of South Florida. Ever since Michael Kelly left for Navy, USF Athletics has been looking for someone to fill his role. But you know what? Nobody is going to fill his role. That's because USF is not hiring an athletics director. For the first time ever, a program will hire the CEO of athletics. In a statement, Will Rutherford, the Board of Trustees chair, said this new title reflects more than a change in language. It reflects a new era in college sports and a new vision for USF. While I think that's a bit of semantics, I totally get where the school is coming from. And you know what? They're right. There is revenue sharing with athletes, crazy NIL deals, conference realignment. Large sums of money are at stake. To act like this is just about athletics is a farce, and USF is putting that out in the open right now. We need a CEO. We need someone who can run a business, because college sports, well, we all grew up to love. It's archaic. It's a thing of the past. USF watched its rival UCF dance its way to the Big 12, and that was a huge slap in the face to many over there at the university. I give them a lot of credit, because ever since that moment, they've kicked it into high gear, and it shows on and off the field.
Without question, is all about the Benjamins, my friend. The NCAA has decided not to expand the men's and women's basketball tournaments beyond 68 teams, at least for now, but discussions about possibly expanding to 72 or even 76 teams for the 2027 tournaments remain ongoing. NCAA President Charlie Baker believes adding teams could enhance the tournament's value. All about the Benjamins. Baker mentioned they're having productive talks with TV partners CBS and Warner Brothers. Hear me when I say this. This is going to happen. Why the powers that be have decided to delay this decision, I don't know. But if I could just use some simple logic here, maybe they're just making sure that when they do expand, they're getting every red cent available. And get ready for there are several factors that are in play, including how to divide up the increased number of at-large bids in an expanded field. there's a concern that expansion would lean heavily toward awarding teams from power conferences and not deserving schools from mid-major conferences. BS. It is all about the what, Evan? Money.
It's all about the Benjamins.
Yes. Now it's time to go to the heart of the game. This is the segment where we take you beyond the X's and O's, and it reminds us why we all have fallen in love with sports.
Yeah, and this is such a cool story, Chris, out of Newtown, Connecticut. It's the home of Florida Panther Mackie Simiskevich for his day with the Cup. He took the greatest trophy in all sports back to where he grew up, and along the way stopped off at the Sandy Hook Memorial Site that honors the 20 children and 6 educators who were victims of the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting in 2012. Mackie is a graduate of Sandy Hook and will always give back to his community whenever possible.
So many memories here growing up, watching all legends, bring the Cup around their towns. It's so cool to kind of be a part of that, and just wanted to bring it here. They've done so much for me here, and like I said earlier, there's a lot of memories here, so I felt like I had to bring it here for sure.
I mean, I have seen so many of these stories surrounding the Stanley Cup and the trips. They get one day with the Cup, and to make sure that you make that a pivotal part of your day, to make that stop, I mean, that just says a lot about Mackie, and really for that community to have those moments. That's such an uplifting thing for the kids there, because they're going to all grow up and they're going to talk about seeing the Cup forever.
I'm just all about doing the small things. In a world where we have so much going on and so many people are going through so many challenges, the fact that he took time to go back to his hometown and to give back, that is always outstanding, because, Evan, it is all about the little things in life. The college football season, preseason USA Today Coaches Top 25 poll released this week. We'll discuss the contenders and pretenders for the national title next. I promise you this segment is the ultimate stakes.
This might sound strange, but I wasn't always a good dad. My kid needed to hear me say, I'm sorry.
See what you got. Oh, you gonna back me down? So you gonna pose me?
He knows I'm not perfect, but he knows I'm trying. That's why I choose to be a father first.
We are back for our Ultimate Stakes segment. This is where we take a look at the odds via the Hard Rock betting app and give you our thoughts on teams or games. It all depends on the week.
Yeah, just a reminder, this is for entertainment purposes only. We have talked a lot about college football this episode, so let's ride with it a bit more. The preseason USA Today Coaches Poll was released this week. The Texas Longhorns are the preseason number 1, followed by the defending national champion, Evans, Ohio State Buckeyes. Then it's Penn State, Georgia, and Notre Dame. But as you can see there on your screen, the national title odds are a bit different. Notre Dame is not up there. Instead, it's the Ducks of Oregon quacking. Evan and I are both going to give someone we like as a title contender and then somebody that's just a pretender. And I have the Georgia Bulldogs, Evan. Kirby Smart is one of the best coaches in all of college football, has won double-digit games, all but 2 years at UGA. And one of those years was his inaugural campaign in 2016. The Branch brothers are coming from USC to add talent on both sides of the ball. It really comes down to Gunnar Stockton, the quarterback who we saw a lot of in that SEC championship game and then the college football playoff, if he can make that big jump. But Michigan ain't winning it. The defense will likely be good again, but too many questions at quarterback, and I'm not sure they have the skill position players to wow you in the Big Ten.
Well, you know I'm a big fan of you saying that Michigan ain't going to do nothing this year. I didn't even have to coerce you into that as well. Look, for title contender, I like Alabama at plus 900. Kalen DeBoer is a serial winner. He took over a team last year with tons of talent, but not quite the personnel that fits his scheme. That should change this time around. They have 4 players named to the preseason All-American team. As for the team I'm not buying to make the playoffs, Boise State. Currently, they're at plus 190. I just cannot at that price. One bad loss with the schedule, and they're likely on the outside looking in. So buyer beware in that regard. So we have to wait for all that. We get some preseason talk. We'll eventually get to college football. But in my last word, why fans need to know more and about being open-minded about their favorite players suiting up in exhibition games. Roundabout way to say, stick around. I got a good rant for you coming up. I'm going to make this last word real quick. The preseason is upon us, and a lot of times teams want to hold out their starters. I'm not saying for starters to play all 3 games, but what I do need is some starters to play on the field because the product in the NFL, week 1, week 2, week 3, it's terrible. It's terrible football. If you don't have players making contact, if you don't have players tackling, you got to get the fundamentals down. Please play them. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back, same time, same place next weekend.
Bye.